afternoon, students.
ಇಲ್ಲ
Are you hearing my voice? Students, are you hearing my voice? Students, voice వినిపిస్తుందా? Students, is it audible? Please respond. Anyone? Is it audible? Voice వినిపిస్తుందా?
Yes, sir, it's audible.
Yeah, right. Okay. So as usual, ఏదైతే మనం రోజు చేసేటటువంటి పని, సో క్లాస్ చెప్పుకోవడానికంటే ముందు అందరూ ఒక్కసారి వీడియోస్ ఆన్ చేయండి. ప్లీజ్ అన్మ్యూట్ యువర్ ఆడియోస్ వన్స్, దెన్ యూ విల్ మూవ్ టు అవర్ క్లాస్ టుడే. ఒక్కసారి మీ వీడియోస్ ఆన్ చేయండి. ప్లీజ్ అన్మ్యూట్ యువర్ ఆడియోస్ వన్స్. Please everyone. Please unmute your audios once. ఒకసారి మీ వీడియోస్ ఆన్ చేయండి. Please unmute your videos once, then we will move to our class. Everyone, please. Others also. ఇది కొత్త విషయం ఏమీ కాదు, రోజు మనం చెప్పుకునేటటువంటిది. ఓకే, అట్లీస్ట్ మీరు 1 అవర్ క్లాస్కి మీరు అంటే ప్రాపర్గా ఉండకపోతే ఎట్లా, అంటే మీరు వింటున్నారా లేదా, అసలు ఏం చేస్తున్నారా అనేది కొంచెం తెలియాలి కదా. ఇట్స్ నాట్ ఏ ఫిజికల్ క్లాస్. ఓకే, సో ఫేస్ టు ఫేస్ ఏదైతే అపియరెన్స్ కనిపిస్తుందో అప్పుడు ఎలాంటి ఇబ్బంది ఉండదు టీచర్కి, రైట్. సో మీరు వింటున్నారా అనేటటువంటి ఒక మాకు నమ్మకం కలగాలి, రైట్. లేకపోతే మేము ఎవరికి చెప్తున్నాం అనేది కూడా తెలియదు. కాబట్టి అట్లీస్ట్ ఓపెన్ చేయండి, ఒకసారి మీ వీడియోస్ ఓపెన్ చేయండి, మీరు వింటున్నారా లేదా అట్లీస్ట్ మాకు తెలియాలి కదా. రోజు ఏం చెప్తాం, రోజు ఇదే పాఠమా, అంటే రోజు చేసే పని కాదా ఇది. ఓపెన్ అప్ ఈ వీడియోస్ వన్స్. Please others also. ఓకే, సో ఇక్కడే ఒక 5 minutes టైం అయిపోతుంది ఉన్న 40 నిమిషాల్లో. ఏం చెప్పాలి, రోజు ఒకటే పాట అని చెప్తూనే ఉన్నాం. రిపీటెడ్లీ వీఆర్ సేయింగ్ ద సేమ్ థింగ్. ఇక అంతకంటే మేము చేసేది ఏం లేదు. రైట్, ఓకే. సో కెన్ యూ గివ్ మీ 1 or 2 points what we discussed in our last class?
About social conditions and economic conditions of Mesopotamian civilization.
Okay. So what we discussed, just give me one or 2 points.
About there are 3 classes in society of Mesopotamia: nobles, commoners, slaves. The priest and priestess were important figures politically as well.
Okay, thank you. Okay, very good.
Economy also.
Okay, we discussed social structure and economy in the last class, and now we are moving to the religious aspects. Okay, so before going to the religion, we have to see certain myths and epics. It's nothing but a literature. Okay, so the literature which adjoining to the religion, okay, like mythological literature and epics, what you find in this Mesopotamian civilization and Mesopotamian religion. So we see today. Okay, so today we see about the myths and epics which adjoining to the religion of Mesopotamia. Okay, so before going to my lecture, I have to share my screen and then move to our lecture. Okay, so this is okay, so religion and gods, right? So each and every civilization had certain philosophical thinking, and each philosophical thinking which turned into the religion, into the various religions, and every religion had its own ideology and preachings, and these religions also attached with certain epics and myths. Okay, so when you see the Mesopotamian religion, which is Mesopotamian religion beliefs and practices, basically you find in the Mesopotamia, and Mesopotamia is a civilization which is combination of various dynastic rule. Okay, so this Mesopotamia is ruled by the Sumerians, Akkadians, Amorites, Assyrians, Chaldeans likewise. Okay, so here the majority part of the beliefs and religious aspects you may find from the Sumerian dynastic rule. Okay, so Mesopotamian religion, beliefs and practice of the Sumerians and Akkadians and other Chaldeans are likewise, and their successors, the Babylonians and Assyrians, who inhabited ancient Mesopotamia in the millennium BC, millennium before the Christian era, and these religious beliefs and practices form a single stream of a tradition. Okay, so Sumerian in origin, Mesopotamian religion was added to and modified by the Akkadian. Okay, so Akkadian dynasty also a important dynasty. You find where Sargon I, the important ruler you find from this Akkadian dynasty, and where his ruling called as the golden age in the history of Mesopotamia. Okay, where you find the number of religious practices, and you find many god and goddesses in the history of Mesopotamian civilization. Okay, so and when you see certain cultural aspects basically, and where the human occupation of Mesopotamia, which seems to reach back farthest in time in the north, where the earliest settlers built their small villages somewhere around 6000 BC, and the prehistoric culture stages, and after certain, you find after certain, after the sites of archaeological excavations where you find which succeeded each other before there is a evidence of settlement in the southern part, basically southern part in the sense the Babylonian culture, basically we call as the Sumerian culture. Okay, so and there are earlier settlements also you find, such as Eridu. Eridu is one of the city-state where you find, which appears to have been found around 5000 BC. And likewise, you find number of city-states in the Mesopotamian civilization, like Ur, Ubide, and Varka, and Kassite, and Babylonian. Okay, so it's this type of city states you find, where you find number of these settlements, and in the settlements you find this number of cultures, numerous cultures you find in it. Okay, so and there are certainly politically you find certain division, uh, which turned into a small independent city states, and but these city states having their separate culture, and the culture which is followed a separate religion also. Okay, so these religious stages, maybe which these development of these stages into certain two, three phases, like okay, so the religious development, as indeed that of the Mesopotamian culture generally was not significantly influenced by movements of various peoples into within the area, and the Sumerians, Akkadians, and Kassites, and Assyrians, and Chaldeans likewise, and rather it forms a uniform, consistent, and coherent Mesopotamian tradition, changing in response to its own internal needs of insights and expression. Okay, so it is possible to possible to a basic substratum involving worship of the forces in nature, often visualized in non-human forms, especially those that were immediate import to basic economic pursuits. And many of these figures belong to the type of dying god. Dying god, a fertility deity displaying death and regeneration characteristic. Okay, so it is we call as that dying god. Okay, so but show variant traits according to whether they are powers of fertility worshipped by match developers and orchard growers, herders, or farmers likewise. Okay, so this stage maybe tentatively date back to fourth millennium BC and even earlier. Okay, so a second stage, which supposed to be called as a second stage, which characterized by a visualization of gods as human in shape and organized in a polity of a primitive democratic caste, in which each deity had his or her special offices and functions, and overlaid the conditioned the religious forms and characteristics of this earlier stage during the third millennium BC, especially. Okay, so when you see the lastly, the third stage evolved during the second and the first millennium BC. It was characterized by a growing emphasis on personal religion involving concepts of sin and forgiveness, and by a change of the earlier democratic divine polity into an absolute monarchical structure. Okay, so which is dominated by the god of the national state, to the point that the PS abstained from all human initiative in absolute faith and reliance on divine intervention. Okay, it's supposed to be you observed in the dynastic rule of Akkadian and Chaldean pace. Okay, so Chaldean dynastic rule. Okay, so when you see as a result of this development, since the ancient Macedonians were intensely conservative in religious matters and unwilling to discard anything of a hallowed past, the religious data of any period, and particularly that of the later periods, is condensed version of earlier millennia that must be carefully analyzed and placed in proper perspective. Okay, so when you see the literacy legacy, myth and epic stage. Okay, so before going to these god and goddesses which you find in various literature of various dynasties. First of all, we see certain this literary legacy in the form of myth and epics. Okay, so each and every religion had its own theory of various mythology and epics. Okay, so these may be seen in certain forms. Okay, so when you see the present knowledge of ancient Macedonian religion rests almost exclusively on archaeological evidence recovered from the ruined city mounds of Macedonia since the 19th century onwards. Okay, so you can when you see these things, when you see the religious aspects which taken place in Macedonia at that time, you may be proved with certain sources. Okay, so these sources may we get from these certain ruined city state, certain artifacts where you find from these Macedonian sites. Okay, so of greatest significance is literary evidence, text which written in cuneiform script on tablet form of clay or monumental purposes on stone. Central, of course, are the specially religious texts comprising god list like the myths, hymns, and prayers, rituals, and woman texts, and other forms also. However, since religion permeated the culture, giving form and meaning to all aspects of it, any written text, any work of art, or any of its material remains or directly or indirectly related to the religion and may further scholarly acknowledge of it. Okay, so every religion adds certain myths in the form of hymns and prayers and rituals, certain traditional text which gives you a lot of information regarding this religious aspects of particular religion, particular civilization. In the same way, you find such religious sources, literary sources regarding this Macedonian religion also. Okay, so these may you get through various sources like the archaeological and also literary sources. Okay, so among the archaeological finds that have particularly helped to throw light on religion are the important discoveries of inscribed tablets with the Sumerian text in copies of old Babylonian periods. Okay, so we already discussed certain things regarding where you find one of the important archaeological source from the city Susa, and where in the Nippur also you find certain archaeological remains or artifacts where you find which clearly related to the Mesopotamian religion. Okay, so and one more important source we already discussed, that Hammurabi's inscriptions. Okay, so Hammurabi's inscriptions, you particularly Hammurabi Code of Law, which is written on a black marble plate, where one side of the black plate you find this Hammurabi Code of Law, and other side you find it's a figure of uh, a sun god. Okay, Hamas. Okay, so likewise, everything which they followed during the time of these dynastic rule, which is in the name of particular god and goddess which they worship. Okay, so in the same way, Hamas is a sun god which worshipped by the Hammurabi style, and all the things which he followed is in the name of Hamas. Okay, so in the same way, you find number of sources, religious sources, through the archaeological artifacts or any, you find at various places like Susa and Nippur. Okay, so at Nippur and Ur, and the Sumerian and Akkadian texts of second and first millennium from Assur, which particularly all important library of Assyrian kings from Nineveh. Okay, so Nineveh also another important city state and one of the important site where you find this number of religious aspects of these Assyrians. Okay, so and of non-literary remains, the great temples, the temple-like structures. Okay, the temple towers, you better to be called as temple towers, which is called with the name of the Ziggurat. Okay, so Ziggurat is a temple-like structure where you find nearly 7-storied structure you find. And every Ziggurat is constructed for each and every god and goddess which they worshipped in various dynastic rule. Okay, so these Ziggurats, which were executed at almost all major sites, like Eridu, Ur, Nippur, Babylonian, and Assur, Kalak. Okay, so everywhere, Kalak and Nineveh, in every city state you find every ziggurat, even in the Babylonian. Okay, so in the Babylonian also you find the greatest ziggurat, which is the remains of ziggurat. Also, you find in the executions at various sites. Okay, so and as well as the numerous works of art from various periods are important source of information. Okay, so at the Uruk, with its representation of the rite of the sacred marriage, and where you find the Ur Nammu stela and the stela with the code of Hammurabi, which is shows at its top of the royal lawgiver before the sun god Hamas. Okay, so the divine guardian of justice are important works of art. It may be singled out. Okay, so other important sources are the representation on the cylindrical seals and on boundary stones, both of which provide rich material for the religious iconography in certain periods. Okay, so in working with and seeking to interpret these varied sources, two difficulties stand out. Okay, so one, the incompleteness of the data, and the remoteness of ancients from the modern people, not only in the time but also in the experience and in ways thought. Okay, so thus for all periods before the third millennium BC, scholars must rely on scarce non-literary data only. And even though writing appears shortly before the millennium, it is only in its later half of that written data became numerous enough and readily understandable enough to be of significant help. Okay, so it is generally necessary, therefore, to interpret the scarce data of older periods in the light of survivals and of what is known from later periods, and understanding that calls for critical anarchism, which is avoided. Okay, so you are already observing the uh, various god and goddesses which they followed in various dynastic rule in the Sumerian Anu, Enlil, and Enki, Autu, and Nanna. Okay, so in the Babylonian gods like Marduk, Nergal, Tiamat, Amas. Okay, so E, and when you see the Assyrian, Asur, Istar, Amas, Elil, E. Likewise, you find the number of god and goddesses in the Mesopotamian civilization, Mesopotamian religious aspects. Okay, so and before going to these, we'll see about these god and goddesses in the tomorrow's class, and today we'll see about these literature and this certain epics and myths with adjoining to the Mesopotamian religion. Okay, so when you see the Mesopotamian literature, which originated with the Sumerians, whose earliest known written records, which are from the 4th millennium BC, and it constitutes the oldest known literature in the world. Moreover, inner criteria indicate that long oral literary tradition preceded and probably coexisted with a setting down of its songs and stories in writing. Okay, so it may be assumed further that this oral literature developed of the core literature and the handbook generis. However, in spite of occasional inclusions of oral formula like legal or medical, may generally be assumed to have been devised after writing had been invented as a response to the remarkable possibilities that writing offered for a amassing and organizing data. Okay, so when you see the purpose underlining the core literature and its oral prototypes would seem to have been such magical, such as aesthetic, or merely entertaining in origin. Okay, so in magic, words create and call into being what they state, and the more vivid and expressive the words are, the more they are believed to be efficacious. So, by its expressiveness, literature forms a natural vehicle of such creativity. Okay, so in ancient Mesopotamia, its main purpose appears to have been the enhancement of what was seen a beneficial. Okay, so with the sole exception of wisdom literature, the core generis are panegyric in nature, and the magical power and use of praise is to instill, call up, or activate the virtues presented in the praise. Okay, so the praise is of the essence of hymns or instance is shown by the fact that over and over again the official praiser whose task it was to sing these hymns closed with the standing praise. Okay, so you find the number of hymns, and not only hymns, you find the hymns, myths, and epics all were believed to sustain existing powers and virtues by means of praise, but laments were understood to praise blessings and powers lost, originally seeking to hold on to and recall them magically through the power in the expression of intense longing for them and vivid representation of them. Okay, so when you see certain core genres of Mesopotamian literature were developed by Sumerians apparently as a compositions. Okay, so writing, which is the first attested at the middle of the 4th century BC, was its origin, and which has a logographic. Okay, so and when you see certain certain epigraphy, sorry, epics. The great epic you find in the history of Mesopotamia was which is epic of epic of Gilgamesh. Okay, so I will. Um, this is Gilgamesh, which you are watching on your screen. Okay, so Gilgamesh, the first legend written down, and story is a myth based on real king, and he is searching for immortality, but discovers every one must die eventually. Okay, so like you find certain uh, this the epic of Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh is a structure of human and half of animal structure you find, and they believe that Gilgamesh is the first epic, and he was a one of the god form. He knows everything, and according to the direction of Gilgamesh, these the Gilgamesh, the Mesopotamian civilization has emerged, and according to his directions, the Mesopotamian civilization has survived. Okay, so these are certain important important things which they believed from the epic of Gilgamesh. Okay, so when you see the genre of epics appears generally to be younger in origin than that of myths, and apparently was linked in subject matter and values to emerge of monarchy at the middle of dynastic period. Okay, so and when you see the Gilgamesh, which is one of the successful rebellion against his overlord, and which is to be a mythological god which they believed. Okay, so where this Gilgamesh had certain important thing from the Akkadian literature. Okay, so in the Akkadian and Sumerian literature. Okay, so Gilgamesh had a had a certain importance in the literature of the Akkadian and Sumerian literature. Okay, so where Akkadian and Sumerians as the spoken language of these Mesopotamian languages, and which was not without its own literary tradition, and where you find each and everything from the this evil epic of Gilgamesh. Okay, so where Gilgamesh, where the Akkadian myths are in many ways depend on Sumerian material, but they show an originality and a broader scope in their treatment of earlier Sumerian concepts and forms. Okay, so they address themselves more often to existence as a whole. Okay, so when you see certain things regarding this epic of Gilgamesh, and Gilgamesh was a important structure which provides each and everything to the people of Mesopotamia, and Gilgamesh was a important structure which warns for every danger which they face in the Arjunus in the Mesopotamian civilization. Okay, so not only that, the and these during the time of the Sargon I, during the time of the Akkadian dynasty, and these worshipping of Gilgamesh has started. Okay, so the Akkadian epic, we must say that this is the Akkadian epic of Gilgamesh. seems to have been composed in old Babylonian times, but was reworked by a certain things later in the first millennium BC. Okay, so it tells how the Gilgamesh, uh, has emerged, how these people were which worshipped this Gilgamesh. Basically, you get all these things from these old Babylonian things. Okay, so Gilgamesh was a structure where he followed a number of adventures, and after many adventures, the Gilgamesh reached his ancestor, and to whom the gods have granted eternal life. But his case proves to be a unique one, and so of no help to Gilgamesh. Okay, so even though his ancestors was not helped the Gilgamesh, even though he helped the people. Okay, so the Gilgamesh who knows when the floods will taken place, if the floods is taken place before that, he warns the people to vacate those places to save their life from these floods. Okay, so and eventually he's saving these saved human and animal life at the time of the great floods. Okay, so eventually, just as Gilgamesh is ready to return home, and he sometimes spend his life with people also. Okay, so and not only Gilgamesh has a great literature, and which is the literature adjoining to him, and many slogans also he followed this Gilgamesh epic of Gilgamesh. Okay, so you had the epic of Gilgamesh is a great epic which saves these people of the Mesopotamian in the ancient period. Okay, so that's why they have many number of god and goddesses. Along with those god and goddesses, they follow this Gilgamesh. Still, you may aware this type of worshipping you find in these Iraq yet present today. Okay, so these are certain things regarding this epic of Gilgamesh and some literary work which before the which before we're going to see about these religious aspects of Mesopotamia. Okay, dear students, these are certain things regarding these literary and certain mythological literature of ancient Mesopotamian religion, and we will see tomorrow about these various god and goddesses who worshipped by these people of Mesopotamia in the various dynastic group. Okay, so tomorrow we'll see in Telugu. This is about my lecture today. You have any doubts or you have any queries regarding this today's lecture, you are welcome to ask me. Okay, so we have only 1 minute of the time. You have any doubts or queries, now you are welcome to ask. Okay, this is open for discussion. Any queries, any doubts, you want to share anything with your classmates, now you are welcome to do it so. Okay, are you hearing? Students, are you hearing?
Yes, sir.
Any doubts?
Sir, actually, it's not subject out. Sir, internals when, sir?
Regarding this class only. Okay, other
Oh.
doubts may you post in the group.